All yours, bud.
Thanks, buddy. Okay, welcome everyone. A couple of, a returning face in Jace, and welcome to the new people to these sessions. Hopefully you'll find them rewarding. We've got four booked in at the moment, with a couple of optional ones. I think we're going to try and run on the back of these four, hopefully when we get to the club, in terms of fielding and maybe some specific other things, any requirements that you guys might have. I'm happy to target something and develop something specifically for those requirements. But over the next 4 weeks, effectively, we'll kick off with just, I suppose, an overview of the club, some of the background to the role in terms of being a coach and team manager. And then over the next few weeks, we'll get a little bit more specific, and towards the back end of this session as well, talking about your coaching philosophy. But then we'll jump into some skills, how to actually develop and plan a session, what that looks like, and then some batting and bowling specific skills, how to do some problem identification as well. So hopefully there'll be some new things in here for you. It's fairly straightforward. We're not going really into the real detail with the practical skills. It's about teaching someone who's fairly new to cricket. That's been the sort of the level we've pitched it at. But there's also some scope to build on these sessions as you get better at coaching, and our players get better. We might actually run some sessions for those coaches who are continuing on or been around for a little while, and show you some of the more advanced techniques you might want to use at training, and some more advanced drills and batting techniques and bowling techniques, etc. So there's it's a good platform, but it's just the start, hopefully, of some development for you, putting back into you guys for the a little bit of a reward for the effort you give us in terms of helping out with kids across our program. So great for us to invest in our coaches so we get a better outcome for the kids, and also good for you in terms of developing some new skills. So certainly appreciate your time. I might just give you a quick overview of the session. But before we do, I'd like to just go around to everyone on the call, and just hear from you guys. Just give us your name and what you're hoping to get out of the sessions as well. So I might throw to you first, Jace, if that's all right.
That's okay. I'm Jason. I've been coaching for 3 years now, 2 years at Super 7 level, and then last year at the Fast Nines. I've come back to this session. I did this session last year. I've come back to it to freshen up and hopefully pick up on some things I missed last year. I missed a couple of sessions, and they're the ones I really want to get back into.
Fantastic, mate. Good to have you back on board. And I know you've been helping out for a number of years, Jason. Certainly appreciated the effort you go into with the coaching. And I know it's a little bit different for you too, because you're not actually coaching your own kids. You're just doing it out of the goodness of your heart to help people out. So
no, sorry, vested interest. I've got my son playing.
Oh, you got your son there with you?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay. Sorry, I thought you were helping out with some squads there that weren't directly involved.
Early on, yes, when we were doing Woolworths Blast, he was in the advanced group and I was taking the bottom group. So
yeah, good stuff, mate. Thank you again.
Yeah.
Bluey, we know you're on as a junior manager, but also as a coach. Do you want to tell us a bit about your coaching, mate?
Yeah, sure. So this is really good for me to just also, like Jay said, a bit of a refresher. I think every time you go to one of these sessions, pick up something slightly different, and also learn from others, particularly new coaches, new people getting involved in this. So I've been, on and off kind of coaching from, I guess, under 10. So this is, I've done about 4 years thereabouts of coaching. Stepped away from the head coaching last year when I took on the junior manager role, but still involved quite heavily at training and getting training from helped Simon out last year with the under 12. So yeah.
Fantastic, mate. Thank you. Cowley, you're coaching. You're back up for the under 18s again this year.
Yeah, good day, Rob. Hi, everyone. I've got 3 sons at the club, and all of whom have been all the way through juniors from the start, from the Blasters program. And my youngest son, my two eldest boys are finished now. They're both playing senior cricket at the club. And my youngest son's in his last year of under 18s, having gone all the way through. So, I've coached all my three sons. And this is, I think, my third or fourth year with my youngest son and his group.
Fantastic. Thanks, Dave. Rajah, you want to jump on, mate? Tell us a bit about your coaching and what you're looking for.
I am very fresh, very raw now. Bluey has pulled me into this. I thought, okay, when somebody is trying to push me, let me try. That's why I'm here. My son has started with Nunawading Club last season, mid of the season, in under 12. So he would be continuing further too. And Rob, I think, Arnav, we have been taking training from you too. So may not be doing any head coach or anything for sure. I'm not at that level. Let me be realistic myself. I will be able to assist any capacity, knowing the coach and getting the training of the coaching itself, and working with the kids and other parents and other things.
Yeah, fantastic, mate. And you've got to start somewhere. The hardest bit's getting started. Once you get into it, I'm sure you'll be fine. It's a lot about people skills, really, and most people, if they're in a good working environment, have got those people skills. And then hopefully we can share a little bit of the cricket specific skills to you, give those to you, so you can actually incorporate that with your great people skills. So the main thing is that you're keen to do it, and the rest will be be fine after that, mate. So I certainly appreciate the time and effort you're giving us. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob.
Yeah, I'm not sure who SG is. Who's that there? Is that
Sandy?
Sandy, you want to jump on, mate? Give us a little bit of your background. Getting a coffee, maybe?
I think it's Sandy from the under 18s. Is it
Yeah,
Sandy?
yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead, mate.
Still on mute there. Yeah, we might jump to Rob. Sandy, if you...
Well, I can tell you a bit about Sandy. He's had I think two seasons at the club. Played, so at least last season, and he's got a younger sister, or brother. Not maybe a brother, Rob.
Younger brother, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, Blue. Sorry, Sandy. You got a younger brother also playing in I don't know what group, but Sandy's a really good all rounder, and looking forward. I'm really pleased he's here. Going to be a great cricketer himself. That's great that he's got the initiative to want to learn how to pass that on.
Yeah, fantastic. And yes, I know Sandy as well. So yeah, great cricketer already. It'd be great to have some of those coaching skills to, as a player, when you coach others, you also get better at your own game. So, good initiative, mate, for jumping on. Thank you. Rob, jump over to you, mate.
Yeah, hey, thanks. Sorry, I'm busy walking the dogs, which is why I don't have the camera at the moment. Yes, I'm still in the second season coaching cricket. In the off season, I've been coaching the basketball team of my son. I'll probably have two kids in the Super Sevens this year. And then next season, probably one's Fast Nines, one's Super Sevens, with the third will probably be coming up in about 4 or 5 years. I enjoy coaching. I find it's one of those nice rewarding things that you can do. I might not be the player I can be, but I can definitely help the next generation come along. And I definitely find it's one of those things that the more you put into it, the more you get out of it. And so definitely I'm just wanting to pick up things to do, things to try. Last season, like I said, was my first season coaching cricket, or actually coaching at all. And kind of was a lot of learning on the fly how it goes and how it works. So it's looking to be a bit more prepared this year, I think.
Fantastic, mate. And good on you for multitasking there, getting the dog out and about, and getting some Zoom meetings in at the same time. Good work.
This is my outing for the day.
Nice one. That's your 1 hour, mate. Don't go
Pretty
past that
much.
hour. Okay. Fantastic. Thanks, everyone. As you can hear, we've got a real good variety of coaches. And a little bit about my background for those people who aren't familiar with me. I think most of you are already, but so I'm the senior coach, do quite a bit of work with the juniors in private coaching as well, and have a number of people that I coach privately outside of the club. I don't know how long I've been doing this, and pretty much since my first year of uni, which is a long time ago, was when I first did my coaching level 1. And yeah, doing it mostly for the love of it these days. Yeah, it's a really rewarding career, and encourage you to get more involved if you've got the time and space. It's been great for me in terms of meeting people, and also developing as a person. So encourage you to do as much as you can. Might just skip along. Here's a little overview for you. Oops, there you go. A little overview in terms of where we're going over the next 4 sessions. So today, a bit of club background, club philosophy. We'll get Dave to talk about those. A bit about child safety, a really critical part of our club and how we run things. We'd like to also give you a bit of an overview of what it looks like to be a coach week to week when the season begins. And we've also thrown in a little bit about the team manager. Sometimes we might not have the team manager around, or you guys are sort of dual hatting sometimes. So it's good to know that role. And also, you know, what's involved in terms of game day prep, and also what's your style for coaching. So that's the focus for today. And as I mentioned, we'll talk about how to run a session, how to get a bit of buy-in next week, not next week, in 2 weeks. And then the third session will be around batting basics and error correction, a few drills. And then session 4, we'll switch over and talk about the dark art of bowling, error correction, and some drills for bowling as well. So that's the plan. But as I said, I'm pretty flexible. If you've got other questions along the way, I'm happy to answer them. Jump in, and if we can't answer it straight away in terms of what we're covering, we might cover it at the end, or we'll try and add it on to another session, but please sing out. Any questions on that, or anything else that you were hoping to cover over the next 4 weeks, people? All good? Yep. A little quick fun warm-up, and we'll do this each week, get the brain going. I know you guys have probably been staring at a screen for most of the day if you're anything like the rest of the world at the moment. These are called Rebus Puzzles, and they're basically little challenges for the mind. You look at the pictures, look at the colours, look at the words, the positioning, and they tell you a fairly common phrase. And I'll give you an example to kick off with, so you get a bit of an idea, and then we'll do a couple of quick ones before we jump into the intro from Dave. All right, so looking at that word in front of you, obviously it's a little bit of a giveaway, this one. It's pretty easy. Any thoughts as to what that little phrase might be, or common words?
Downhill ski.
Good work, Dave. You've done this one before.
Oh, I've been around, mate.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. So can everyone see how that works? So the position of the words, it's traveling downwards, and then obviously the word skiing as well. So downhill skiing, yeah? All good. Let's go to the next one. They get harder, by the way. So Dave, even though he's done them before, I reckon might still struggle.
See, I've got my one answer in
Yeah,
early.
he's got in early.
That's my strategy.
Yeah, you're going to relax, mate. All right. I'll give you a few seconds. Don't just yell out. I'll give you 15, 20 seconds to have a quick look. Yeah, maybe stick your hand up. Let me get all the up on the screen so I can see all of you.
Oh, man.
All right. I can see a hand up from Rob Nurse. What do you reckon, mate?
Once in a blue moon.
Oh, have a look at you go.
What you read on video?
I can see what you're doing.
Oh.
All right, let's do the next one. Just pop your hand up in the little screen, or yeah, I've got Jace there. Just hold on, give him a couple of seconds to have a bit of a look, mate. What do you reckon, Jace?
Tickled pink.
Well done, mate. Good job. Anyone struggling?
It's a hard one, Rob.
Here you go.
Jeez.
Finish on a high note, mate. This is a little bit cryptic. It's not such a giveaway. Oh, I got one hand up from Jace. Anyone else?
Impressive, Jace.
Anyone we haven't heard from yet? What about you, Sandy? Are you there, mate? You want to have a crack, or Raja? No idea.
No idea what's going on.
I'll give you a little clue to help the thinking, and then I'll throw it over to Jace. What's another name for goose feathers?
Down.
Yes. Good.
Down in the dumps.
Oh, there we go. Jace, is that what you were going to say, mate?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly that.
Good work, guys. The brains are working
Work, Jace.
for some of us. I might. I'll hand over to Cowley just to give us a bit of a background on the Nunawading Cricket Club. A lot of history there. I'll flick over you, mate, or yours.
Thanks, mate. Guys, the clubs, we're a really strong, large, and powerful club, and it goes back to nearly 100 years ago now, where Nunawading was called Tunstall. And we were based at the railway station up there, where's now a rec centre at Silver Grove. It's on where the station is on the left-hand side as you're driving up Springvale Road towards the Eastern Freeway. Right at the top of the hill where the station is, that's Silver Grove. And that's where the club was until about 1975. When we started back in the good old days, we had one or two teams, and then it ended up 3 or 4. We won a premiership in 27, 28. We had one guy named the Thatcher family was the family that started the club, and one of the Thatchers was very well regarded as a possible test player. But he didn't play test cricket, but he was regarded as a possible test player back in those days. So we stayed there, and then Tunstall became Nunawading, and then we had a glory period from about 57, as Rob's got on the slide. I think we played in the finals every year for like 25 years in our firsts, and grand finals, 16 of those, and won 11 premierships. So that was the glory days of the club, and a lot of really powerful and large, strong players playing in that club throughout that whole time. So after that time, we did struggle from about I suppose the early mid-90s, and we ended up several years in the doldrums at a senior level, to the point where we've kind of got to a crisis maybe 7 or 8 years ago, where we ended up recruiting a large number of Sri Lankan guys. We ended up winning 3 premierships in the firsts in succession. It proved to be a bit of fool's gold, unfortunately, because all of those guys have now left the club, and wasn't. I mean, I suppose we did have that success at the time, but nothing long term as a result. We've got a lot of good rivalries, and we're very good friends with other clubs, particularly those clubs there, Blackburn and Heatherdale, but lots of rivalries across the whole association. We're known around the club, around the association, not always in total good stead. Like, we're a very competitive club, and a lot of people will say that those guys at Nunawading are so-and-so's because we have had teams over the years play hard. But we are, like most clubs, and we're not the only club, has got great people, a good committee and great facilities. There are other clubs that are the same, but we pride ourselves on that. And we always, I suppose our best advertisement is our people. And a perfect example of that is how our junior program has grown really well over the last 10 or 15 years from nothing, where by word of mouth, effectively, by running a good program, we've been able to build it up to what it is today, such a large and successful program, based on people telling other people how good it is at Nunawading. That's probably enough for that slide, Rob. There's another. So off the field, we are, as I said, social, and we have, but we have a mission statement, and it's really one of the key things that is important to us as a committee, particularly, is that every player is as important as every other player. So it doesn't matter whether you're in the first 11 or the fifth 11, or you're the opening bat or the last guy picked in the fifth. We still there's a spot for every person in every team, and everyone's treated equally. So we believe that people who can't afford to pay subs or don't have particular talent, there's absolutely a spot for them, regardless. And we do our very best to give everyone an equal opportunity. It doesn't always, we haven't been perfect at that, but we certainly, one of our mantras is to be inclusive. And that is for that friendly, there's no clicks, there's no, I'm in the first 11, I'm not talking to you. We are working, we've got a very young senior cohort at the moment. We are working on those guys. They're very young, 19, 20. We are working on them embracing their next generation down a little bit. So that's just a maturity thing most of the time. But collectively, we are a very responsive and committee. We run it like a business. We're very financial. The facilities are good. We've been very good at managing a relationship with council and the soccer club. Our key the key thing for us as a committee that everyone has fun, has a smile on their face when they arrive, and they actually get some fun and fitness and whatever it is they want out of the game, they get out of the game. And anyone who doesn't get that, we encourage them to come forward and speak to us, and people like Rob and Andrew on the call who are club leaders exemplify that, where they reach out to many people to make sure that everything's going how they'd like it to be, or seeking feedback continually. That's probably it, Rob. Thanks. Do you want me to talk this or Blue?
This is Blue.
Blue.
Yeah. Just to wrap up there, I think the reason we've included that little bit in these sessions is we're a very proud club, and we like people to understand the history, and that we're trying to actually maintain being a really, really strong club in this association. So important that people understand where we've come from, but also where we're trying to get to at the same time. So thanks, Dave. Over to you, Bluey.
Yep. So I might just quickly ask Sandy to unmute. He just had to duck away before, but Sandy, we just introduced ourselves before, and just I guess everyone just gave us just a really quick idea of why they were wanted to find out more about coaching. So Dave gave us a bit of background of where you're at as a player, but it'd be great just to introduce yourself if you can.
Yeah, hello. My name is Sandy, also known as Sandy, and I joined Nunawading last season and played under 18s cricket. David coached us last year, and I'll be playing my second under 18 season this year. The reason that I wanted to come here is because I think that coaching can help a player to improve his game and his skill sets. So yeah, it's good to take these opportunities to improve as a player and as a person.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Thanks,
Sandy, and thanks for making the time. We really appreciate it. And as you said, everyone's welcome. It's great to get a mix of experience and more experience, less experienced coaches, and it's good that you're taking the time out for this, because it will improve your cricket, and hopefully you'll get an idea of, you'll be able to relate to the kind of challenges that Dave faces when he's trying to coach the group, and you can help him out where possible. I guess I just wanted to really quickly go through a couple of things so that we really pride ourselves on, having a great junior program. That was, as Dave mentioned, we kind of that was kind of reinvigorated by Dave. Now, just over 10 or so years ago, and we're starting to see the fruits of that labour now. So Dave got it up and running, and then Rob Nash took it on for about 7 years. He was junior manager, did an excellent job of growing the program into really what it is today. So we have about 150 kids in the program, right through from Woolworths Blasters through to under 18s. So a decent number. We had about 10 teams registered last year, and we should have about the same this year. And it's our Friday nights that really, I think, have made our junior program. So all of our competitive teams from under 12s through to 18s play on the Friday night. And we really like that to be our kind of, community night where families come together and celebrate all of our children and young people's success on the, in cricket. In the past, we've had curry nights and, Christmas celebrations and those kind of things. And we all keep our fingers crossed, COVID willing, that we'll be able to get back in and have those kind of nights again. And really, it is the quality people that, this club is built around. So we do have this one club culture where, we hope that there's a pretty seamless transition from our junior club into our senior club, so that particular juniors can make that transition as well for those who are keen to play senior cricket. And all of our committee meetings all held together, junior, senior clubs all together. There's obviously a keen focus on child safety and keeping our young people safe. I think even more so than ever before, I think community clubs and sporting clubs play a really key role in making kids feel safe and giving them an outlet. We're all going through various stresses at the moment, none more so than young people, and we appreciate that. And what we as a club need to do is ensure that they can get out and play some sport, play some cricket on a weekend, they come to training and in a very safe environment, and they can have fun. Most importantly, have fun, get out there, play with your mates and have some fun. And along with that, obviously we have a keen focus, and that's why we run these sessions on quality coaching and player development. So that's still a focus to ensure that our players get better in the game, and that's why we invest in our coaching. That's why we brought Rob to the club, to ensure that the quality of coaching remain kind of consistent, and we keep building on that every year. And as I mentioned, COVID will have an impact. There's many things out of our control, but what we can control is being well organized and ready to go for when we do get the green light. This is just a very simple kind of overview of like the junior structure. So quite small, but my role as junior manager is really overarching, looking after the whole junior program. Tanya Tynan is our new child safety officer, and I'll be working closely with Tanya along with a small working group around child safety to ensure that we continue on this journey of making this the safest place it can be for young people. Rob is really, his role is coaching director in many senses, because he's obviously our senior coach, contributes to our junior program as well, and looks after our girls cricket. So plays multiple roles. We're lucky to have Claire and Daniel Smith, who have been coordinators of the Woolworths Blast for now many years, and continue to do so this season. And Glenn Mackey, or Max, helps me as junior treasurer. There are obviously then, you and others obviously play a key role in this structure as well. Our coaches are all, within this structure. They feed back, we hopefully that we can help you develop as coaches, and you can hopefully give us some feedback on, what it is that you need in the way of support. So yeah, so my role, as I said, involves all these things. I won't run through them. You would have seen most of the things I do because you'll see the communications that come out. But essentially, it's just to make sure all our kids get out on the field and play some cricket. Essentially, in the safest, most inclusive environment we can create. So, that club culture is really important to us. Always here to take any feedback, to respond to any any issues, which hopefully we don't face, but also here just to just to bounce ideas off as well. Always looking to improve the program. So you'll be able to look at these in your own time. We'll share the slides with you later. So.
Great, thanks, Bluey. Just on the role that Bluey plays, I've got a pretty big role going across a lot of bits and pieces, but it goes nowhere near the size of Bluey's role in terms of looking after all those teams. As he said, we've got a massive junior program. It's a really big piece of work. We've been blessed with Rob Nash and now Bluey running that so successfully in recent times, and Dave obviously even prior to that. So it is a critical part of our cricket program, the juniors. It's really the future of the club, and that's why we're so lucky to have some really good people involved, including you guys tonight. So a little bit about just the senior coaching and how all that works. So in terms of juniors, so I'm there as a support to you guys as well. So if you've got if you're struggling for ideas for sessions, feel free to pick up the phone. I've got lots of little bits and pieces in my kit bag ready to go, so we can give you lots of help on that front. I'm also around. I try and be around one night a week at the junior program, and also Josh Richardson is my assistant coach, as you can see on that slide as well. So he's committed as well to be down there one night a week as well to help out. So feel free to grab us if you want to run something specific and you don't have the particular skill set to coach that piece of or that skill. Just tap us on the shoulder when we're there, and we're happy to try and help out. Or if you get to us beforehand, we can probably give you something so you can run it yourself as well. So feel free to use our expertise. That's what we're there for. But it also, I suppose, goes across trying to get some of these young guys moving through the senior ranks, and that's why it's really important that we have that one club culture. So we encourage the junior kids to come through and play in our lower grades, and we've deliberately requested grades that might suit that happening at our club. So we've got a one-day grade in our fifth 11, our bottom 11, and that's also, we've requested the bottom grade there. So it's a really nice way of easing into senior cricket, hopefully with a little bit of success, and then they can progress from there. We also make sure we've got a nice blend of experienced people as well down at those lower levels of the club to help the juniors come through. So if you're seeing people in your teams as coaches that you think might be able to play in the senior grades and there's an appetite for that, please reach out and we can try and facilitate that. Obviously, we've got a certain amount of numbers we can do each week, but we'll try and rotate through that bottom 11 throughout the year to give everyone a go who wants to play senior cricket. So that's definitely a part of my role to make sure that's going smoothly and to make sure that's a safe environment too for the juniors as well.
Hey Rob, why don't you just really quickly tell that story? It was a couple of 10-year-olds did really well in the fifth 11 last year, and I think one of them won the game for us. Yes.
So we had a young Zach Warburton come through in his very first game of cricket, playing. Was his dad playing that day as well too, Dave? I don't think he was.
No, I think he was watching.
Just Zach. Yeah. So young Zach came along for his first game of cricket, and he's a very confident lad, and he's got pretty good skills. And it came down to the end, and it was up to him to get the winning runs, and he got us home. So some great stories of the kids last year, all the way through the ranks, actually, from first 11 down through to the fifth 11. So,
And wasn't he batting with another 11 or 12-year-old?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was a fantastic effort.
Ryan? Yeah.
From the young boys to get us home in that game. So, that was really on them. That was them getting through without a lot of help from us. But I suppose it talks at length about the work they've done in juniors to come up and be successful straight away. So that's on the coaches who had them as well. Great success story. So thanks, Dave. Fantastic. That's enough about the coaching stuff. Child safety. Do you want to talk about this, Bluey?
This information is up in multiple places on our website. I'll be reiterating this, in the comms that come out to the juniors anyway. But we essentially follow the Cricket Australia's policy on safeguarding children and young people. So we all sign up for a code of behaviour, and that signed off by all of our committee and junior coaches. So for those that are new to coaching, you'll get an opportunity to have a read through that information, and essentially it's something that we will we'll ensure that all of our kids are safe. And Tanya Tynan, as I said, is playing that key role this year as the child safety officer. And that obviously aligns with all of the coaching we do. Is first and foremost making sure the kids are safe, and then and having fun out there. So and working with children's checks, all those kind of things that you would expect when you're working with young people, or an expectation that all of our coaches, team managers and senior leaders at the club all require those checks. So.
Yeah. Great. Thanks, mate. All right. Let's talk a little bit about the week in the life of a coach. There's multiple hats you've got to wear as a coach. It's not just coaching cricket. We all know that there's a lot more to it. Does anyone want to jump in and talk about some of the other things you might be faced as a coach, or you might have already come across in your coaching career? What sort of different hats are you wearing week to week? Yeah, Jace?
Umpiring.
Yep.
Always expected to umpire the teams as well as coach them.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. You can't escape that. What else? What other roles are coaches having to play each week other than just coaching cricket?
I guess
check the well-being of each person who is doing what they're doing.
Absolutely, yeah. So that well-being might be a little bit of counselling. So you might be a counsellor. They might get injured, so you're now a first aider. There might be the kids fighting, so now you're a referee as well. You guys, you're stepping into a role that requires you to be really flexible and wear a number of hats. Often some of those we're really good at, and then there's others where we're not so good at it. And that's where, you can rely on people like Bluey, myself, anyone else around. If there's a particular area that you're struggling with, and it might be, trying to get people, on track. They might be distracted or might not really be concentrating. Bring someone else in, get a new face, and maybe split the group up into smaller groups so you can give them a little bit more attention. But there's lots of things you need to do to make sure that the well-being and issues are sorted out as a coach. But don't always feel like you've got to have all the answers. Get some help in, use the parents. I'll often, if I'm running a session and I've got an unruly kid and the parents are standing there, I'll go, can you just grab him for a little while and get him back on track and send him back when you think he's ready? We're not there to be parents at the same time. That's fine. We'll do a little bit of that because we're managing a group. But if it's actually taking us away from being coaches and developing other people, that's fine to maybe get someone else involved or to split groups up to be able to do that better. The other key thing is now you're a comms manager as well as a coach. So, you've got to keep parents informed. You've got to get the kids, on the same page as a group. There's a lot of ongoing things around that. And that's where the team manager can play a little bit of a role as well. I'll talk a bit about that in a minute too. But, you're the face of the organisation really as the coach of that team, delivering the messages we're giving you to push out as a club and mostly from Bluey, I think, around that, some of those admins when photos are due and, when the scoring, how to score sessions are coming up for the online scoring through My Cricket, those sort of things. There's lots of comms we need to get parents involved in, and you're the face of that along with the team manager. So week to week, that's some of you might have really big teams where you have to rotate people through, and you've got to try and work out the fairest way to do that. Again, we can help out with that. But getting that right it takes a little bit of time. I use a spreadsheet for the girls to make sure everyone's getting a good chance to open the batting and open the bowling, and in between we rotate that through so everyone's had a chance. We rotate captaincy through as well. So all those sort of things, just to try and be fair and equitable. It's sometimes difficult when you've got a big crew and you've got so many other things to do. So make your life a little bit easier by actually having a little sheet. Doesn't have to be a spreadsheet, could just be handwritten notes, and tick people off as they've been captain and when they've opened the bowling or whatever. As the kids get older, we're not always about everyone getting the same amount of time, but we're trying to do as much of that as possible because we want people to enjoy it and have fun playing cricket. We don't want it to be all about 3 or 4 people getting a real good go and everyone else missing out. Junior cricket's about having fun and enjoying it, so they take it up as a game for life as well. Any of you guys on the call, how do you plan for training and things like that? What's your routine? Do you keep a little handwritten notes, or do you do a bit of work on the Sunday before the end of the week before you get into it? What's the plan you guys use for training?
I can just give you an idea of so I normally do the preparation kind of the day before, so that I can also bounce that kind of rough plan off my other coaches. So that was the other point. I think we do try and, where we can, get a couple of coaches involved in each team, so that you can, again, bounce ideas off each other. You can give each other a bit of a break at different times. Someone takes the lead, whether it be in a training or game day, share the load with umpiring, all those kind of things. So so I would normally prepare something, a bit of a rough plan for the night, the day before, run that past the other coach and or coaching team, and get any other feedback that they think we should be or things we should be focusing on, and then implement it, but kind of have in the back of my mind kind of what we've done, and kind of develop, make sure we're touching on all the various skills, not in each session, because you've only got an hour and a half to work with them. You can't do everything in every session, but make sure that you kind of, you're working through the basic skills, through the season.
Yeah, great, mate. Anyone else want to jump in there? Yeah, Jace?
I always do a match report the day after the game while it's all still fresh in mind, and that will often lead to sort of like your spreadsheet idea, where you're ticking off players and what they've been doing. By doing the match report, you get a feel for that as well. Yep. And I always made sure to rotate the captaincy through all the kids.
Yeah, Fantastic, mate. Good. And that little match report, the little summary of what's happened, also gives you an idea of what you need to focus on for training, I'm guessing, Jace. So, you know, we batted really well, but our bowling was a little bit wayward, maybe too many wides or leg sides or whatever. You now got a plan to focus on for training. We want to actually improve that, you know, the direction of our bowling after doing the match review. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Fantastic. Yeah. Anyone else before we move on? No, all good. Okay, great. But yeah, so that's sort of a rough idea of things to be aware of. I love the idea of actually having a little plan before you get to training. It's so much easier, because what happens is you get there and then you get bombarded with maybe parents catching up on something, or the kids want to tell you something, and then you've lost your train of thought. But if you go there with a plan, you know exactly what equipment you need. You can set it all up, and then when people arrive, it's already ready to go. You just got to implement rather than having to think on your feet. So do a little bit of planning, and it just makes your life so much easier. And if you can base it on what you've learned from game day, in terms of some strengths and weaknesses for individuals and also the group, even better. A week in the life of a TM. So they're a critical part of making your life easier, and I'd really encourage you to make sure you've got a team manager in place. It's very easy to say not want to bother parents and try and do some of this stuff yourself, but it really takes the load off you. You can focus on the kids and the coaching and that side of it, and then all the admin, maybe even scoring, those sort of things can be done by the team manager, or they can help organise other parents on your behalf as well to do some of this stuff. So really, really important. But the main role of the TM ongoing, it's really that contact and liaison. So parents go to the team manager to say, yes, my kids aren't available this week. You know, I'm going to be away, we're on holiday. So they're doing all of that organisation background stuff for you. So when you go to select your team and make sure everyone's getting a nice rotation through the different roles, you can plan some of that into if they've gathered all the information and passed it on to you as coaches. So that's the big one. And also the weekly, getting out the match day comms. So where are we playing? Who are we playing? What time do we need to be there? What do we need to bring? You know, typically prior to COVID, one person might organise the, you know, a bit of an afternoon tea, some food, and we'd then share that. But obviously with COVID now, the restrictions are meaning that we have to bring our own food. We can't have a shared afternoon tea, unfortunately. But yeah, that's generally how we'd run it. They also look after things like the scoring roster as well. So who's going to be scoring this week? There'll be parents who say, oh, I'm not comfortable scoring. You only get comfortable by actually doing it. So, you know, sit with them maybe the first time. If you've got the time, I'll get your team manager to sit with them and get them through that. We run how to do the My Cricket online scoring sessions at the beginning of each year. I think we've got a plan to do that again, Bluey, yeah?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think Max and Paddy might have run that for us. We supply iPads and everything on match days at home to be able to do that. So, you know, it's fairly straightforward once you get the hang of it. And we also rotate on Fridays, the Friday night duty. So who's going to be helping serve food, collect money, you know, just helping out there. Bluey, anything else you want to add to this one, mate?
No, I don't think so. But I just reiterate the point that, you know, it's really important that culture of having a team manager that helps out the coach starts from early days. So I think Rob would be testament of the fact that you know, having a good team manager even at Super Sevens level is super important and probably takes a bit of load off. You know, particularly when he was first year coaching, I think, you know, having a good team manager who keeps all this stuff under control so you don't have to worry is really important.
Yeah, and it is really a team effort. And next week we'll talk about getting parents involved and some strategies to help you do that, because there are, unfortunately, some parents who think it's a drop-off rather than being there to help out. And we encourage all the parents to get involved as much as they're comfortable. There's lots of roles they can do. They're not all, face-to-face, roles. They can be behind the scenes doing things. There's always something they can do, but we need to get them involved as much as possible and do it early. A little bit of homework coming out of this one for the newer coaches. I'd like you to have a think about, before the next session, your own coaching philosophy and what your style is going to be. I'd like you to understand why you're coaching. So for me, I've always, my background's teaching. I'm a physical education teacher. I didn't really teach for very long, but the bit I really, really enjoyed about teaching was seeing, your investment in those kids and how they grow and develop, and the influence you can have on people in terms of their sporting careers, but also as people. So for me, it's really about watching other people grow and getting better as a result of what I'm doing. So that's really my purpose, to make sure when they leave my sessions or at the end of the year, after a full year of sessions, that they're better as people, but also as cricketers as well. So that's why I'm coaching. For some of the existing coaches, you want to jump in and tell us a little bit why you're coaching, what motivates you?
Yeah, I can go first. Since I'm back. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty honest. I'm pretty much in because my kids are in. I still really enjoy cricket, but actually playing is getting too time sensitive, so can't really do that. But if I get them involved in the game early, it's quite good. It actually is really enjoyable when you get into it. And I think that was the question. Why am I coaching?
Yeah. Why do you do it? Obviously, you're keen to be involved with your kids, which is great. Is there something more to it as well? Is that keeping you active as well, getting you off the
I've enjoyed the coaching I've done for the last year of cricket and then now basketball, and now going back to cricket and basketball. It's actually it is really rewarding when you kind of you can put your plans together during the week, see it, get it acted on the weekend, and you can actually see the kids kind of grow and enjoy it as they go along. So
absolutely. And I think the beauty of being involved with your own kids too is as coaches is that you might have an hour with them coaching, but as you're developing as a coach, I'm sure they're benefiting in the backyard games of cricket. And when you go to the nets, some of the things you've been learning as a coach, you're now imparting onto your kids as well. So they're reaping the benefits of your development too.
Yeah, they have learned occasionally. It's sometimes not fun to have dad be your coach.
Yeah, it's always hard, mate. They tend to listen less to coaches who are dads sometimes, but I'm sure they'll appreciate it in the long term. Anyone else like to share about why they're coaching?
I think Bluey and David have to speak out before I open anything. I didn't do anything. I want to share why I want to do.
Yeah. All good, mate. Thank you. Let's talk about the different styles a little bit as well. So there's different ways you can coach and different approaches to how you coach. And you can see on the screen, there's a number of things I've highlighted. So, you'll probably slot more comfortably into one of those 3 different sort of styles. So I'll put down 3 there. So participative, directive, and laissez-faire. You can see the definitions there, so I won't go into it too much. But basically, participative, if you're actually letting the players get involved in making decisions on how the session's going to run, maybe. So it's not just you telling them how to do it, which is the directive style. Depending on the level of the kids, sometimes you might want to be a bit more participative and give them some options. And what they've found too is sometimes when you give people opportunities to take control and make decisions, they're more likely to own those and actually learn better when you give them a little bit more of that. But it is dependent on a few things. I've posed a few questions there. Is one of those styles better than the other, do you think? Do you want to always be directive or always be participative or always be laissez-faire? Raja, you're shaking your head, mate.
We have to use the mix and match of each of them, certainly.
Yeah.
Only thing is, we have to take a bit of impromptu decision. How do we bring that participation versus decision making directive?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is where I think we have to be a bit conscious.
Yes, exactly. And unfortunately, when we're limited with time, we can't always get people involved as much as we'd like, because it does take time to be more participative and ask questions and get their ideas and toss them around. Sometimes we just want to go bang, get them started, and then maybe do some more of that later on. So that's fine. But you're absolutely spot on though, Raja, in terms of, we want to move between those different things. And as good coaches, you need to be flexible. So when do you think you might want to be more directive? What sort of situations, guys, would you want to be more directive? When would you do that?
I think Sandy had his hand up for that last point.
Yeah, sorry. Oh. Yeah. Jump in, Sandy. You want to add something there?
Yeah. Like Raja said before, you have to mix it up a bit, but I guess it depends on the player's level as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, what do you mean by player level?
Like, for example, beginner players in the beginner level, for example, mostly juniors, obviously. You should have more of a directive approach.
Yeah.
But you have to mix it up at the same time.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
What I just said before.
Yeah.
But like for more experience, for more experienced players, you can get their opinions because they actually have experience, and like you can ask what areas they want to improve on, etc.
Yeah. Spot on, mate. So yeah, typically the more experienced the player, the more participative you need to be, right? And that starts falling into the adult learning theory and those sort of things as well. So they want to be involved as they get older and more experienced. They've got life experiences and of their own to share, and they might even do it better than you do in some cases. So definitely get people involved, the more experienced they are. When they're just starting out, if we talk about, Super Sevens, Milo, Woolworth Blasters, etc., they don't have that experience to be able to, be involved in decision making. So it is very directive, and progressively we let the reins go as they get older and more experienced as coaches. But sometimes, even with the older blokes, you've got to pull them back because they're getting out of control. I'm going to be a little bit more directive for a little while because you guys aren't focused. All right, I'm going to get you back on track, and then I might let you go again. So you definitely try and move between those different styles, but you'll find one works better than the other as your natural style. So I tend to be fairly participative, but you might have a slight preference to go somewhere else. The other things that are important as a coach is to know what your values are. Okay, and I might just share the next slide, which gives you an insight into my coaching philosophy and style. So this is what I wrote down when I did a coaching course. I think this is my level 2 coaching course that I went and did. And I jotted this down, and I just keep referring back to it. It hasn't really changed much at all. There's been a few little tweaks along the way, but it gives me the basis for how I'm going to do things along the way. And you can see some of my values in here. So this is my coaching philosophy, and your job for 2 weeks' time is to come back. I want it written down and shared with the group at the beginning of the next session. So just jot down there's a little bit of work for you to do for next week, next fortnight, sorry. So the kind of things I'm trying to be are positive. I want to see the best in people. I'm always going to give people an opportunity to improve and create that environment for them. I want constant learning. So I want two-way feedback. I want to know how I'm going, as well as I'm going to ask them, what else can we do? How are you feeling? How can we make this easier for you? What else would you like to do? Do you want more stretch, etc.? I'm always about number 3 there. I don't want big groups. I want people to be active when I'm coaching. So they're learning more by being active throughout my sessions rather than lots of gaps where they're standing around in a queue. So really big focus for me. Challenge is that there's always opportunities the kids who are more advanced, that they get opportunities to develop, as well as those kids that I'm working on to get the basic levels up and running. So I need to incorporate things in my skills and drills that allow people to work at their appropriate level. So I might set people up in pairs based on skill levels, so they get to work with someone who's going to stretch them, while I'm working with some other guys who need some more work because of their skill level. And last but not least, and pretty important thing, is that you walk away when you finish your coaching and the place is better than when you arrived. So that's basically what I'm trying to do. So there's a number of different values built into that, about, engaging people all of the time and giving them opportunities to be better, and trying to improve things. So any questions on that, guys? No? All good. Excellent. So everyone clear on what they need to do for the next session in terms of developing their coaching philosophy? If you've got any questions, drop me an email or give me a ring if you're not sure. But I'll expect to hear back from you in a couple of weeks as a little homework task. That's all we really wanted to cover off today, and I think we're a little bit over time already. But just to wrap up, I'd just like to flick back to go around the group. I'd like each of you maybe to share one thing that you picked up that you didn't know before, maybe about the club or around how we set up our coaching environment, sort of things you need to be aware of. I'd also like to hear how we can improve this session, a little bit of immediate feedback. And if you think of anything else, you can always email myself or Bluey to make this a little bit better. And any other comments you've got, guys. So we might just work our way around the group again. I'll start off with you, Jace, because you're top left corner in my screen.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about it before, but you mentioned the legacy, the idea of leaving the place better when you move on. It's something I just never thought of before, and it's a good point.
Yeah, and I think it's an important one that you've made some sort of change and an effective change. That's what we should all be striving to, and that could be small, it could be massive. But we want to get some, as coaches, and we want to be making an impact and changing how things are happening, hopefully for the better, of course. But yeah, any other feedback, mate? How can we improve this session? Anything else? Any other comments?
I can't think of anything else.
Yep. Okay. Thank you. Rob Nurse, jump over to you.
Lovely. I don't think it's something I haven't learned yet. I'm learning all the time. I think it's nice to know that kind of people are in the same boat as me with regards to having a plan beforehand, having everything jotted down, working way through it like that. I think that's quite nice for me to know that. Yeah.
Fantastic, mate. Anything we could do better in terms of this first session?
No, nothing actually of the first session. I'm quite happy with this. I assume we'll get a recording after this with the
slide pack.
Yeah.
So we've got a PDF version of this slide pack because it is pretty big, and Bluey will send that out to everyone who's been in attendance. And I think he's also recording the session, so that should be available if you want to go through it again as well.
Cool.
Yep. Thanks, mate. Bluey, anything to add, mate?
No, I don't think so. No.
All good. Raja?
It's good to know all in small pack, very good quick session, especially the values are very important, Rob. I really like them, the way you have put up. And you staying positive, learning is continuous. We need to let them know. In fact, we are also learning continuously too. And what I observe with my kids is being active, always looking at that in the soccer, the coach also. Always he tells like this, eyes and ears.
Exactly.
So those things, you reminded me of that when you presented it. That's very good. The pack is also very good. I don't think it is apt for the situation, and I don't see any point of improvement. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate the feedback. Thank you. Carly, anything you want to add, mate? Not on. Disappeared. Sandy, over to you, mate.
Yeah, I think it was useful. But yeah, like I think everything has been covered already. Yeah, like as you go, you can help other people improve their game, and you can learn yourself as players. You can find areas to improve on. So yeah, it's really useful. Thank you.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate that. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for today. This is probably, I suppose, a little bit of information overload this time around. A little bit more us talking. The next couple of sessions are much more interactive, and we'll throw to you a little bit more for your ideas. Yeah, just a fair bit to get through in this one, a little bit of the background, but as I said, definitely a little bit more engaging over the next 3 sessions, definitely, particularly when we start talking about batting and bowling in the final 2 sessions. But yeah.
Final 2 sessions, hopefully in-person sessions. Yeah. By then the numbers will come down.
How good would that be, hey? It'd be really nice, wouldn't it, to be able to do these sessions in person? It's so much better, and particularly the practical ones. There's so much more I can do. We developed these last season because we were in lockdown, and you know, trying to get screen dumps to show you techniques for batting and showing you in a still image about bowling. It's not the same of actually getting hands on and holding a ball and hitting a ball and doing those sort of things. So absolutely our preference, if we get a chance, is to do these sort of sessions outside, and you'll get a lot more out of them, no doubt, but we'll make do with what we have to do to get something done and hopefully get some value out of them. So appreciate your time. Anything else you want to say, Bluey, to wrap up? Or?
No, just thanks, Rob, again for giving up your time to put these sessions on. Appreciate it, and thanks for everyone for getting back on a Zoom after many of you, I'm sure, are doing that at work as well. So work and study. So we'll see you hopefully soon, at least in the next fortnight on the next of these sessions.
Fantastic. Thanks, everyone. Have a good evening.
See you guys.
Have a good night.
Thanks all.
Thanks, Rob. See ya. Bye all.